And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, January 18th, 2014. This is Season 8, Episode 3. I'm Scott.
I'm James.
And I'm RJ.
And welcome to the show. You want to get in touch with us, it is very easy to do. You can call us. Our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. You can check out ingamechat.net for all the links that you need to see to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. We are over on Facebook. You can find us there. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. And we are streaming the cam feed right now through Twitch. So head on over to twitch.tv and find us over there under In-Game Chat as well. Join in the chat room live while we broadcast. Hello, everybody in the chat room, which for whatever reason their viewer list is not showing up for us. So I have no idea who all is in there other than Matt and Smelton, RJ, myself, and James, I assume, will be in there shortly if he's not already. So welcome to the program. Long weekend for some of you, holiday on Monday for some of you here in the States. So hopefully you're going to be getting in lots of game time. I know some people are getting in some Titanfall alpha game time. We know that because the invites went out. We also know that because people uploaded video and screenshots and all sorts of stuff as to what's going on.
Why don't you have access to the alpha?
I don't know. I didn't even know I didn't even know about it until that thread on GAF went up, and I was like, oh. And I started seeing links where you could go and sign up, and so I went quickly and signed up. Now, from what I understand, a lot of people who played Battlefield on Xbox One actually got the invites, actually got the codes for the alpha.
Yeah. People who had, well, no, I guess they would not have played any sort of beta on the Xbox One for BF4 since it was already in retail release when the system came out. I'm guessing it's just people who have put in time there and that EA pulled their profiles and gave them the access over here. You used your influence during your Xbox One purchase. You used it entirely wrong.
Yeah, I guess
they were trying to do you a kindness and keep you in their good graces a little bit when they couldn't get you a box that was working correctly, you know, and there was that whole problem back and forth with getting you the Xbox One, and they said, you know, what can we do to help? Would you like all the games? Essentially, that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in effect, that's what you wound up with, whether or not that was necessarily what was on the table. You should have just said, put me on the lists of the things that aren't out yet.
Exactly.
That's what I need.
Oh.
You guys don't care one whit about people playing the games that are already out, particularly if they haven't been purchased. That stuff's already done. It's already out there. They can distribute those codes freely, and there's no problem whatsoever. But we all know that's not the real value. The real value is in access to unreleased content.
It is. Betas and alphas and everything else, especially the alphas, especially the closed alphas, especially the ones that I don't know how many people got into this thing, but I don't know a lot of people that did, other than what's being posted on Reddit and GAF and everywhere else. I know very few people personally who got in, so don't have a lot to say on it. I played it at E3, but that's nothing to go with for whatever they're showing on this alpha build. E3 and I think PAX, which was back in September. So I'm sure things have changed. I'm sure, you know, it's gotten some upgrades here and there. A lot of people questioning though, doesn't the game come out in 2 months? Why are they doing an alpha?
Yeah, they're probably. It isn't really an alpha, or maybe it is. I don't know. We've complained a lot. Everybody, and I mean by we, I mean all people who pay attention to the terms and have any desire whatsoever to know what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
In software development, alpha and beta usually have fairly specific meanings, or there's really like a set of things, a set of circumstances, or a set of details to any given set of software that kind of determines, like, okay, this is an alpha state, right? It's super duper rough, not even close to all the assets, but it is sort of, you can pretty much run through it and it does pretty much everything you expect it to. But it is no way something that you want to expose the buying public to, right? It's really something kind of considered internal. And if you look kind of back in the past, I think people were, we talk about betas as marketing now, and kind of largely they are. There's some legitimacy in saying, like, look, we're not going to, we don't really care what you have to say. You get into Battlefield 4 beta, they don't care what you have to say. They don't really care about your bug reports. They're going to source some of that stuff. They're going to follow things on Twitter. They've got their support accounts with their ears on. They've got the beta forums, and they're going to be culling those for recurring keywords and stuff like that. Mostly, you are one little thing rattling around in the system, right? It's a multiplayer game. You're one of a billion people trying to access the servers at that point in time, and they can track you. You're just the number. They don't even need your feedback. I'm sure it's appreciated because it goes into yet another pile of metadata. But for the most part, I accept that is an actual beta for the purposes of server stability, connectivity, intercommunication between the client and the server, or the various clients or the various servers that are handling all the data. I'm okay with that. The idea that we're inviting people into public or invite-only alphas seems a little bit strange. It indicates that the game is much further behind than it is. But in this case, it's probably just them playing a very old alpha stable build. That's it.
We've got a listener here who is actually in the alpha and just sent us a number of tweets. I won't reveal the name or anything like that. Thank you for being part of our alpha test. As noted in the NDA you have signed, posting anything related to the alpha outside these forms, this form has been set up. Yeah. We are interested in feedback related to network connectivity, matchmaking, and any technical issues. Titanfall closed alpha Xbox One North American network connectivity and matchmaking test. Parties disabled the test matchmaking only. All North American data centers not always available. Progression capped at 10. Only includes lower resolution textures to reduce download file size.
Incredibly lowered. I don't know if you saw the percentages, but
I haven't seen that.
My understanding, based on one of the Respawn, the developer of Titanfall, one of the Respawn dev team members posted in a GAF thread saying specifically that the in-game textures were at 25% of the target. That means they've been reduced by 75%. They're incredibly, incredibly small to obviously facilitate just, look, we want you having the client. We don't care how pretty you think it is or isn't. We don't care what you think about the level up process. We don't care about your idea about unlocks. We simply want you to get out there, just play the game. Just download the game. We'll make it easy as possible. Play the game. Do your thing. We'll collect data off of your behavior. Thank you very much. So that's fine. I'm fine. Call it kind of whatever you want. I'm going to imagine that somebody somewhere, some savvy publisher is going to start recognizing that you need to ditch the concept of alpha and beta as public, or even invite access things for members of the public. Those are better internal terms, and they're better used when they're applied directly to testing. It makes a little more sense. Just come up with a better way of communicating what it is you're actually doing, and don't misappropriate certain terms. It's all ridiculous. It's all crazy. Call it testing, call it early access, call it whatever you want to call it. Find a better branding for this set of actions that you're doing.
Than alpha and beta.
Yeah, in an online only type of future, which is the future that's directly ahead of us, this is fine. I think people will understand it. You want to see how well this stuff is going to connect. Invite a bunch of people in there. Throw some meat in the grinder. See what shape it comes out in. That's all perfectly fine. It's alpha, beta, it's ridiculous. It's confused because they're actual terms that mean actual things. Having said that, I do think this would have been better treated as, just, hey, we're testing connectivity kind of thing. We're not really calling it necessarily an alpha. It's certainly not for marketing purposes because they're not allowing streams.
Yeah.
And they're shutting down videos. Well, I
They're
won't say
being pretty
fast.
quick.
They're not as fast as they could be. I think this is one of those meta marketing deals, where they don't want you looking at their game in an unfinished state, but they kind of do. They kind of do.
It's kind of marketing.
It is marketing. It's 100% marketing. They sort of do. So what they do is they give you a head start. We'll give you a running start, right? We're gonna ban your video. You know it and we know it, but we're gonna, I got a little stopwatch here.
Gonna let it linger for a little bit.
Right. It's they do a little like most dangerous game thing, and they're like, we're gonna give you 10, 15 minutes to disappear into the woods.
Well, we're gonna check how viral it gets, and once it's got enough little hits there, we're gonna then we yank it. Enough so that it can get out into the wild and get seen and get people's attention, and enough that it can cause more attention when we pull it. For people to find it.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I can't expect them to cop to that. That would ruin the fun. Right? It's only fun if there's a sense of danger.
Yeah.
It's only fun if you're putting your channel or your blog or your page or your user account or any of this stuff at risk. And it's part of the game. It's all in the game, and I don't mind that one. I don't mind it at all.
Did we talk last week? I wanted to say we almost hit on it briefly, but did we talk about the 12?
No, we didn't.
6-6?
No, we didn't. And you know what? I didn't get a chance to confront you about that, but you knew how I felt about it.
Yeah.
And I felt like you were rage blocking me last week, because I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to go over it, and I felt like you sort of segment bumped me on that.
I'm not that smart, man. I'm not that good. I am not that good at it.
I was kind of prickly about that, because I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to at least source some other opinions on it, because it does kind of matter to me. And I was I don't like it. I don't like 6 versus 6. It's not. I'm not saying objectively 6 humans versus 6 other humans is always bad. I am perfectly aware, and I would like to state this at the outset. Every type, every brand, every kind, and every degree of multiplayer really needs its own thing. The map is the key feature for balancing how many people are in a particular area. The game type I would imagine to be kind of secondary. But map and game type, those are the things that we think about when we try to determine, like, what's the best fit for this, you know? And 6-on-6, not as like an option for a particular bracket of play in Titanfall, but for Titanfall. It's not that, well, there's these types of maps, there's this kind of game mode, right? I mean, we're familiar with that. Battlefield has half a dozen different game modes. Call of Duty has half a dozen different game modes. And they each have like restrictions or constrictions on the maps and stuff, and on what you do. And so sometimes, like 6 versus 6, perfectly fine. Old Counter-Strike matches, you know, some of those older small map things, 6 versus 6 is perfectly fun. It's it's a very intense game. It's a much slower game than something like Titanfall.
And there were certain, if I remember in COD, there were certain maps that only allowed for certain, like some of the maps had, they're like, okay, you can do 8 versus 8 in this map, and then some of the maps you went to, it's like, we can only do 4-on-4.
Right. I mean, they're very specifically designed. What they're telling us here is that everything in the game is designed around 6 versus 6. And I can get behind that a little bit. It doesn't match my imagination of what Titanfall was going to be. And I'm still not entirely sold on the idea of the mechs, of the Titans, particularly after watching some of these videos. And I know one of the immediate answers is, what is the maximum number of human players on the map, but what is the maximum number of Titans that you can imagine a map tolerating? And they are big, they're stompy, they move around really quick, they create an awful lot of destruction, have huge firepower, very resistant to damage. I can imagine you're going to see 12 of them stomping around at any point in time. It is possible. I understand thinking about that. But with the kind of, map traversal, the ability to have booster rockets, like to be able to double jump and do wall running and do all these sorts of things, in addition to the Titans themselves, 6-on-6 seems a little bit limited to me. It's supposedly made up by the inclusion of some of the AI.
Apparently. I thought that was
odd.
And
the AI, look, I get what they're after. I get the explanation. The Titans themselves are on like a 2-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
Right? They're not a kill streak bonus. Everybody has access to one. They're on a 2-minute timer, base timer. The killing of another pilot, which is a human player,
speeds that timer
or a
up.
grunt,
Yeah.
speeds it up to varying degrees based on the value of the target. Humans are obviously worth more. A human player.
Yeah, and chaining those kills and stuff like that.
Right, and so it reduces the timer and allows you to get it quicker. It's fine. It's a simple mechanic. I understand that, but I have a real dislike for the idea of computer-controlled characters, for AI to be what feels like infiltrating my competitive gameplay. I don't mind killing bots. I don't. A bot match is its own specific thing. It's really kind of a nice form of calisthenics. It's nothing like playing a human, but it can hone your basic reflex. Before when I was a competitive gamer,
What?
long time ago, I used to play like bot matches in Unreal Tournament. I would set up an Unreal Tournament thing. I would set bot matches. I would set them to godlike or whatever I felt like, and I would just go until till I just felt the strain, and I just couldn't do it, and it wasn't any fun anymore. But it keeps your reflexes sharp. It does all these things. Bots are useful. They're no replacement for human beings, and I don't think in any serious match, obviously setting aside MOBAs, I understand that. I get that. Dota, LoL, those things they serve a specific function. But one of the things I think is most rewarding about online multiplayer, and sanitize your thoughts away from the idea of the 13-year-olds that have done all sorts of unspeakable things to your mom, apparently, right? Or who do all sorts of unspeakable things to your corpse on the kill cam.
Right.
But setting all that aside, the idea of multiplayer online, like competitive multiplayer, is being able to play the man. It's being able to play the person. The best I've ever done in competitive multiplayer, and I enjoyed it immensely. I still kind of do. I'm just horrible at it because I don't practice, and it does take practice, is being able to outsmart a human. To imagine at any point in time what a human would do.
Mm-hmm.
And the need to outsmart, outmaneuver, outthink, to fool, to trick, to in any way get up on that other person, the individual, the human, the man, woman, whatever, don't judge me.
I understand.
On the other end
the other
of
player,
that connection.
the other human player.
Yeah. That's what the game is about. And I'm not saying that the bots necessarily ruin it, but they are an obfuscation. They're like a distraction. They're just fodder, so you can kill them and then do whatever. But in my head, I don't like it. It's a bit of a mess, and I don't feel good when I kill bots. I want to kill, the avatar of an enemy player. I want to play the person. And
I mean, you're looking at RJ when you talk about this. Prime example.
Yeah.
Great example for you.
Mm-hmm.
Guy who does fighting games.
Right.
Guy who's training for his tournament run in March.
Yeah, mid-March for final round.
Final round. That's in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's going to be on Twitch.
Most likely, yeah.
Seems like everything else.
It's like one of the biggest tournaments in the U.S. Just behind Evo, I believe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of Twitch feeds on there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to let us know when you're scheduled to play. I'd like to see if that gets streamed.
Yeah, well, I've already registered, so I should be getting some type of notice in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, keep us up to date on that. Completely going off the rail here, but keep us up to date on that so we can let everybody know when to watch you and pull for you. But anyway, you fighting games. Your best exercise experience, your best way for training should be against other humans, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've always said before in fighting games, there's only so much you can learn playing against a computer.
Right.
You got to play against actual people who has built strategies and all types of things. Way to counteract this, or what do I do against this player? How do I play against this guy? Okay, this guy has a habit of doing this, or she has a habit of doing that. How can I punish? What can I punish? What can I not punish? What's a setup and what's not? A lot of techniques and strategy goes into competitive play against people, and that you can't get against a computer.
Right. And let's be clear. They're not trying to EA and Respawn here. They're not trying to. I think we could put a lot of guesswork into what it is they're trying to do. I know they've built a mechanism around having cannon fodder enemies to be a little bit of an annoyance, but largely to be there for you to kind of reduce the cooldowns, on your overpowered thing, on your Titan. And it's certainly fine. But some of what it appears to be is that the map sizes are designed around 6 humans versus 6 humans, and then each side having a set number of AI enemies. And if the map can accommodate X number of human avatars and X number of computer-controlled avatars, then why couldn't you split the difference between the two, remove the computer avatars, and increase the human count up to, say, maybe 10 versus 10, which, in an aside, I believe, well, in my personal experience, that's been my happiest sweet spot in online competitive.
10-10?
10 versus 10, maybe 12 versus 12. I think that there is something exceptionally well built around that. It is not so small that the inexperience or the failure of any one or two people is going to absolutely ruin the team experience for other people, which is absolutely true with 6 people on a team. 1 or 2 people who are absolutely new. And you remember in some of the Halo matches, like, we made the huge mistake of being grown-up adults playing competitive games sometimes against other people that we just weren't very good at it, but we generally remembered liking this sort of stuff in the past. You run up against, 4 kids who just do this all day from their dorm room.
That was one of the reasons that you and I enjoyed, or that we definitely enjoyed, and you still enjoy it with Mass Effect 3, is the Horde mode gameplay type.
Yeah, I think that it was, I think Mass Effect 3's version of that was the best version of that I think I've ever played.
Yeah, and I haven't played that yet.
That was fantastic.
The best I've got to go, Gears of War did it, but the best I've got to go with is, was it ODST? Wasn't it ODST?
Yeah, ODST was pretty good. It had a Horde mode.
It had like a firefight mode or something like that. I can't remember what it was called, but it was all of us together facing a wave upon wave of AI. And that's all well and good, but this is a multiplayer game. It's people versus real people. So
Smelton's bringing up a thing in the chat room. He's saying competitive gameplay though is always 5-5 or 6 versus 6. Dave Defeat, Counter-Strike, COD. In those games, yes. I know it's been an age, but I played Tribes competitively, very aggressively, always 10 versus 10, and it was a perfect balance. There are a lot of, you couldn't play Battlefield really competitively, 5 versus 5 or 6 versus 6. Like I said before, it really depends on what the game is trying to offer you. If it's just simple run and gun type of gameplay, yeah, I understand that it's going to be much smaller. But the other thing to keep in mind is that the vast majority of people playing aren't going to be doing hyper-aggressive competitive gameplay. An average server of something like Day of Defeat, at least back when it was still running enough for me to play, it was, 10-10, 12-12 on a really good server. For the guys that were doing matches, they were on a ladder in a competitive circuit. It may have been smaller, but it really depends. I'm not trying to bag on the game at all. I haven't played it. I have been hyped for it for a while. And not for nothing, I actually like really fast, twitchy shooter gameplay. I always have liked it. I'm, average at it, but I can keep up. I really enjoy it. I think it's fantastic. I really liked the speed of Titanfall, really like the speed of Call of Duty. Those are games that I actually like. So the actual player balance stuff for a lot of people is a bigger deal than it is for me. My biggest hang-up is that to some degree it seems to be built around the AI. Mm-hmm. To whatever degree that is, I'm skeptical that they couldn't have been done away with in favor of maybe 1 or 2 more people per side.
More people on the map.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I expect small maps. I expect really, really tight gameplay. It is a source engine game after all, which is not especially good at creating super large environments. So, I don't know. The overwhelming response from people who are playing the game is very, very, very positive. And if you're talking about people that were maybe sourced from Battlefield, right? The games couldn't be less like one another. Battlefield 4 and Titanfall.
Yeah. No, the word after everybody playing it at PAX and at E3, that was it. Have you played Titanfall yet? Go play Titanfall. It's go play it. Get on the show floor and play it. Everybody played it. Nothing but positive. However, my time with it, I can't... See, we didn't have any aspect of how many the multiplayer was when we were there. They had lots of kiosks set up, much more than 6v6 that I remember. I want to say it was probably close to 16.
What?
I want to say the kiosks that they had set up at PAX on the show floor, there weren't 12 stations. There were more than 12 stations set up in the
but how many people were playing in a map together?
See, we don't know. We don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. You couldn't tell the difference between a person and an AI anyway.
You couldn't. So
and more to the point, and I apologize for being overly critical here. I don't feel like anybody has still played this game. You know perfectly well that the whole point of the show floor is to blow your mind. The whole point of being able to play something like that under controlled conditions, a game you are unfamiliar with, being bombarded by the noise of other people, the noise of the show floor, the noise of the game, the unfamiliarity with whatever is presented to you, whether it's a controller or in worse circumstances, a keyboard with layout and bindings that you don't know. Somebody over your shoulder telling you exactly what to do. No. Like, do this thing right here. Don't do whatever you want to do. Do this thing right here. Let me tell you how this is. No, I don't have any information on that question you asked, but boy, isn't this amazing. That's your experience.
Yeah, it is.
And even an expert, which you are not, you are terrible at this. But even an expert has an awful difficult time remaining objective and being able to keep his list together and take a moment, take a breath, and figure out, like, no, what do I need to be looking at here? What am I being shown? And what am I seeing? Those are two different things. And so I don't mean to dismiss the impressions. I understand the sense of fun. But you came back from Star Wars Connect with the same sense of fun. It has more to do with the sales preparation. I think it's a big spin about, I don't mean that no one's impressions are legit. I mean that the circumstances make it untrustworthy.
Yeah.
I feel very much the same about alphas and betas. The more exclusive, the less I trust them. Exclusivity is a high, you know? It is a mental, experiential high. Man, I'm seeing this thing before anybody is seeing it. I got in the thing for the game, guy. I got it. I got it? So, the more I know you, the more I trust you. Our, direct tweeting friend who has access, I trust that.
Yeah.
But I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of my own stuff. I had a ball during the Battlefield 4 beta. It was great. Like, here we are. We're accessing this brand new thing, and brand new is super, super exciting. And
look how Battlefield 4
I know. And it's as much about my own kind of responses as anything else. I have a history, a lifelong history of being absolutely bowled over by the amazing new thing when I get to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to get in a place where it's tough. We have to get to a place where we're just being as skeptical as we possibly can. And then in 2 more months when it comes out, I'll say it's amazing.
Well, we got to take a break here, but don't forget our phone number, 334-272-9228. If that person who was sending me some tweets, if you are listening, if you're still listening, why not give us a call and tell us about your experience? One of the best things about us being a show that's live and on the radio is that you don't have to
they can't track your gamer tag.
They can't find out who you are. So that's one of the best things about it. 334-272-9228. We'll be back with more in-game chat in just a moment. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. The music that we played, and I want to try and make this a habit, that the music we played going into break was from BioShock. The music we played coming out was Punch-Out. So there you go. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. We are on the subject of Titanfall, and we have a phone call now that we're going to put on the air for you. We are not going to, well, no, he does have a name. His name is Bob Titanfall.
Bob Titanfall.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Thanks for calling in. You are in the alpha for Titanfall,
Such
correct?
as it is.
I am in the alpha.
And how's your experience been?
Well, Friday is when they opened the alpha, and you couldn't even get in Friday night at all. So, that was everybody's hammered. Everybody's coming home from school and to get on. So, of course, we couldn't get in Friday night at all. Everybody just kind of let it run. And then Saturday morning, I just gave up Friday night. Saturday morning, I got up and got on fine, but the servers were full. It was doing an auto matchmaking. You could pick like a West Coast, a East Coast, or a Central time zone server. There was the three options of that, and then it would kind of just auto matchmake you like we're used to with Battlefield or COD or anything else. But as of today, everything has been running flawless. As soon as you start the game, you jump right in, and you're immediately. It takes maybe a minute to get in the server or so, and it's good to go. No lag issues. I was really planning on it being a lot of lag in the game. A lot of people are actually on the forums, on our beta forums, talking about it, saying EA must not have anything to do with this game because there is no lag. It's actually running like it's supposed to. So, yeah, EA's going to be mad about that. But it's running great, it really is.
Well, and so other than Friday, you haven't run into any problems. You've been playing all day today, I guess. It ends on the 19th, correct?
Yeah, it ends on the 19th. We don't have an official time yet. I'm assuming maybe a midnight Pacific time tomorrow night, if I had to guess. But they haven't given us a time. They just said the 19th.
Let me ask you a question, because we're curious about this. Did you play Battlefield on the Xbox One?
I did, but let me tell you what happened. We got Battlefield. It was so problematic when we first got it because I got it the day of the release and played it for about 3 or 4 days, carried it back to GameStop and swapped it out because it was just so many bad problems with it, with the server issues and lag. So I haven't played it since maybe a week after its release. Yeah,
but I think because you played it, you signed in to Origin through your Xbox One and put some time.
Went on the list.
Yeah, that got your name. That got your name on their list, and so when you signed up for the alpha, you did sign up for the alpha for Titanfall, correct, or did you?
No, I didn't. But I have a couple friends that work through some gaming companies through my semi-professional gaming career over the years, and so I'm wondering if that had influence or not.
Possibly. All I know is I signed up for the alpha. I did not get in, and I also did not play Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One. Was
it like a specific sign up for the alpha? Or was it like an opt-in thing through one of their programs?
Man, I saw a link on GAF where you could
click
go,
the link,
and I clicked to the link. It went to the prepare for Titanfall. I signed in through my Origin account, and then it said, "Hey, your name's in. Check your email in the next coming days and see if you get in."
All right. Well, first things first. I mean, I saw some of the videos that survived long enough for us to watch them. And as we were saying in the last segment, there's a wide range of both complaints and support. I don't subscribe to nearly all of those complaints. I mean, I kind of speak on behalf of them because I can definitely understand where they're coming from. Some of them I do. I don't mind. I certainly don't mind the speed. I really, really like speedy, fast stuff. We've spent a long time now, by the way, actually without a lot of fast gameplay. When the consoles became the primary kind of point of online play for an awful lot of people, it didn't really work too well with super twitchy, super fast gameplay because of controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Titanfall looks like the fastest thing I have ever seen played with a controller. I mean, is it honestly as fast as it looks? It looks like it's faster, twitchier, quicker, smoother than Call of Duty. It, in that respect, looked incredibly impressive to me.
It feels like Call of Duty, but it does feel it is smoother to me.
Okay.
It's the same kind of gameplay you feel as Call of Duty. There's a lot of close quarters combat inside of buildings, but you do have wide open spaces, and some of the maps have roads going down the middle or trails for the Titans to actually go through. So you have the option of wide open gameplay and then in the buildings. Now, we're not talking about anywhere near Battlefield map scales.
Right.
We're talking about your larger COD type play. But yeah, really a good comparison is the Call of Duty, but it just feels smoother. It really does.
It really does, and that has been a huge objection for me for a really, really long time about competitive play on the consoles. I remember specifically playing anything at any level of serious competition, again, late 90s, early aughts. Anything and everything could be sacrificed in favor of good connection and smooth gameplay. There were people who absolutely would drop their resolution down to 640 by 480. They would reduce the detail levels of the game down to nothing. Anything to make sure that they could move around and see quickly enough. The smoothness of the gameplay was paramount for really, really good, particularly close quarters type of stuff. We're not talking about, everybody get together, work as a team, play the objective, just don't be a doofus and we'll win, take the flags, blah, blah, blah. You had to be on the ball. You had to be pixel perfect in a lot of cases. And if the guy on the other end of his connection is a quarter second faster than you, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You are absolutely, absolutely done. I do like that type of Twitch gameplay. I don't necessarily prefer it, but I do like it. And I do think something smaller than Battlefield's current maximum map stuff is, I'm glad they didn't chase that. Let me be clear. I'm glad they're not chasing 64 player or even 32 player maps. I think that's a little bit too big. I think it is too drawn out. It feels awful in some instances to be on foot and to be absolutely ineffective. But so I don't know. There's 6 versus 6. I don't know. I just honestly can't say much about that till I play it. But can you tell me, like, useless or useful, the bots, the AI, the grunts?
Yeah,
That's what I was
Bob.
going to tell you. Like the guy Smelton said in the chat room about, having the 6 versus 6 for competitive and then the bigger. I'm kind of for, maybe having the bigger for online matches, or not matches, I'm sorry, online just regular multiplayer play, and then maybe the smaller if you want to do more of a competitive gameplay.
Yeah,
As far as the bots go, the AI right now is bad. There's actually 6 quote-unquote grunts on each side. So, you've got 6 actual humans playing, and you've got 6 bots on each side playing.
Okay, so it is 6 bots per side.
Right.
So
Okay.
it is basically 12 versus 12.
That's
Right.
right. But they feel like right now they're just filler. They're there to make the map so you constantly at least see somebody. Your
Yeah.
Battlefield maps, you go for hours, it feels like, and maybe not see somebody. Right now it feels like the bots are so bad, you'll turn a corner and they'll just be sitting in the corner just kind of looking around, or a basic, a small shoot or something. Or they'll go to the actual a spot where I'll capture the flags. We're seeing, and the thing I was surprised is we're actually seeing multi game modes. We're seeing a capture the flag and a just kill death. We're also seeing multiple maps. I assumed we would see a 1 or 2 map like we have in other games in alphas and betas. But we're seeing a load of maps. We're seeing a load of different gameplay. And
So
like,
you actually got different game modes in the alpha.
yeah,
That's unusual.
I was really surprised for that. I really, really was. So, like with the capture the flag, you've got a point A, B, and C, and you go to that location, and there's a computer terminal that's in there, and you have to sit in that location a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay. So it's not like proper capture and retrieve the flag. It's more like conquest or dominate or conquest style capture the flag.
It's point defend.
Yeah,
whatever.
However
yeah.
you want to talk about
Yeah.
it in that respect.
My concern with that is 2 things. Number one, you've got your bots that will go there to help you, and they'll kind of sit there, and you'll hear them kind of talking. I'm covering this window. I'm doing that. But here's the problem. If you sit in there, and I tried this because I had unlocked the sniper rifle and kind of set in a location, I'm hitting constant points for sitting there. So I'm worried, is it gonna actually promote more camping style? So I'm getting these extra points for just sitting there, even when it's capped and everything else. My other concern is, what I'm noticing now, the more I'm getting into it is, James, you touched on this with the Titans being on a 2-minute timer. Honest to God, the first 2 minutes of the game, there's nothing going on. Because people are like running to a location that they know will be a safe for their Titan drop, or they will run and be safe. So for the first minute and a half or 2 minutes of the game, most people are just running and hiding and waiting on that 2-minute time. And then it's like, now I got a Titan. Let's go to battle.
And then it's Clash of the Titans at the 2-minute mark.
That's exactly what it feels like right now.
That's interesting. And see, here is another thing about this brings up a point that hadn't occurred to me earlier, but that often occurs to me while I'm playing multiplayer games. There is, when you, obviously, if you've played, if you have a history of playing competitive multiplayer stuff at any point in time, one of the things you're going to know is that a developer, look, these guys are doing the very best they can, right? Their map design might be off the charts brilliant. The game modes might be either new and inventive or tried and true. Everything in the design might be solid, and the caretaker nature of what they're doing to build their game might be impressive. But until you source not just hundreds of thousands of connections to make sure your servers are stable, but until you source the behavior of real people, there is no amount of quality assurance, no amount of internal testing that can tell you how people really will act in a multiplayer game. You can say, we believe people are going to do this, and we're going to try to incentivize this type of behavior in a multiplayer game and disincentivize this other type. But you could do that forever. And the minute you unleash it onto the public, they have discovered something you never thought they would do. The behavior of real people, inventive people, tens or hundreds of thousands of them, will break your design, sure as sunrise, the minute you put it in their hands. And all of a sudden, you find yourself amending the game, not designing it anymore, but amending it. And I think, I don't know how they get past something like that, but that thought hadn't occurred to me. I imagine no, everybody will go try to find another player character to shoot and kill to reduce the timer of their Titan.
Mm-hmm.
But really, having heard you say this, it makes perfect sense. The Titan is too valuable. That type of damage and defense boost is too valuable. So go hide in a corner and wait 2 minutes, you know? And so the first 2 minutes of the match, yeah. That's fascinating to me. And that's exactly one of the things I find most interesting about the design of multiplayer games, competitive multiplayer games. And it's one of the greatest pitfalls. And what they do about that, how they possibly change that, give you score bonuses in the first 2 minutes or something like that, I don't know. But that's interesting. It hadn't occurred to me.
Every class gets like a anti-Titan gun. And let me tell you, it's fun when you're running around and all of a sudden you start hearing these Titans, you know, that robotic sound coming towards you. Everybody scatters. You know, you run and you try to get under cover, hide from them and all that. But now, I'm telling you, the rocket boosting, or we call it the fanny rocket because it's like attached to your butt. The wall jumping is like Mirror's Edge. You know, it's really fun. I mean, the wall jumping part of it and the little boosting and timing your extra because you get like a secondary boost and things like it. That's really, really fun. And doing that, and then you can get on top of an opponent Titan and actually start destroying him and pulling him out of that Titan is really, really fun. At first, everybody was scared, and we were like, crap, it's a Titan that's running high. But now people are starting to run up the walls behind them and time it so they can get on top of them and start pulling them out.
Learn their weaknesses, take advantage of your strengths.
The melee, the other Titan, if you're in 2 Titans, it's funny. If you're in 2 Titans and you're, fighting each other and you're battling each other, you start getting closer. Well, you got melee attacks now as Titans. So it looks like those old boxer games. You see 2 Titans just sitting there punching at each other.
Rock 'em, sock 'em.
Robot Wars.
Yeah, and if you can get close enough to the other Titan and you get him down to a certain level of health, you physically take and pull the pilot out of that Titan out and throw him across the map. And, of course, the source graphic, it's ragdoll effect, and it's just great. And everybody just sits there and you see heads watching them fly across the map.
No, there has yet to be anything that has discouraged me from wanting to play this game. The likelihood that I'll play it on the Xbox One is smaller than the likelihood I'll play it on PC, which of course brings up another problem. Where's my PC Alpha?
I know.
Totally different platform. It's got its own issues to deal with, guys. I think it would be really, really excellent of you to maybe start giving us some options there. But whatever. I shouldn't even say that. We all know why they haven't done that. It's because, putting it out there on your Xbox is one thing. Distributing it to different consoles is one thing. It's much easier to control that distribution. But on the PC, no. We're just going to have to whatever. It's a source game. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, on your Xbox, by the way, your tile says game. Nowhere does it say Titanfall or anything. It just says game. So when you click on it, you click on game, and it shows you're in a game. It doesn't say anything. So a lot easier to control, like you said, than throwing it on Steam or even the Origin client, to try to do that. So.
Everybody out there with an Xbox One, go look at your friend list, see if you got anybody playing game.
There you go. There you go.
And you know exactly what they're doing. Well, Bob, we appreciate you calling in and
thank you so much.
Giving us this.
No problem, guys.
This
I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Take our skepticism with a shaker of salt. Obviously, we don't know because we don't have hands-on. It's all from a remove. But what do we got now? Sometime in March, right?
Right, March 11th. The game looks great, and my fear, though, is coming...
God, that's closer than I thought.
Yeah, that's right upon us.
Yeah.
With the game, with the graphics, they look really good now. It honestly looks like an advanced 360 graphics, like the last end-of-life 360 graphics. My fear is when we add this, if we're only at 25%, if we go to that 100%, how are we going to get that lag and that shutter?
Right, are you going to be able to maintain this? Yeah, can you maintain the 60 frames?
Right.
That's another big question.
That's an interesting thing. Everybody that came away that I talked to at E3 and at PAX who were coming away from that really enjoyed. They loved it, and they were saying, "Hey, you got to go play it." They weren't saying, "Hey, you got to go see this thing because it just looks fantastic." They were just like, "You got to play it because playing it is really great." But everybody kind of said the same thing that you were. That's like. It still looks last gen. It just plays really well.
But to be fair, I mean, it looks okay to me. I've always been perfectly fine with what the Source engine can produce.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get a, hey, come look at me when you're a Source engine game showing in the same exposition as, Infamous Second Son.
Right.
You're not. That gets to be the go look at this game thing. these are video games. There's nothing wrong with winning the "Hey, go play this game" award.
Of course, no.
because
no.
that is, strange as it may seem, the entire point. So,
It really is. So.
but thank you so much. Don't waste too much more of your time. You got probably 24 hours left or a little more. So,
Yeah, it's going to be a long night. So, I hope the wife doesn't mind. I've already told her this is only a 2-day thing. Please, just,
Right.
leave me alone. So, all right, thanks, guys.
suck it up. I got research to conduct.
Talk to you later. That's interesting to get nice hands-on from somebody who's played the thing that obviously is more professional than I am.
I think we should
giving
put,
hands.
You know what? I got to tell you, I think we should put this out there. Look at how secure in-game chat is as a radio show for covering leaks in the gaming industry. Nobody can track your YouTube channel. Nobody can track the distribution of the video file. Nobody's going to find out your gamer tag, your PSN ID, your Origin ID, any of that stuff. So you happen to be playing an interesting thing and you want to lay a little knowledge and experience on us, you can always get in touch with us here. We will protect our sources.
Of course, 334-272-9228 is the number. So anyway.
Yeah, it's March 11th.
That's close.
Man, it's January something right now.
18th.
The 2014. You guys. We are very old on this show. And I swear to you, the most fascinating thing I've ever experienced is being in my late 30s and realizing they were not kidding. Time really starts to go by fast. Like amazingly, disgustingly, horrifyingly fast. And I'm really at the point now where it's could you just stop with the game? Could you just, some of these games, could they just wait? Just wait.
Yeah.
Because March is going to be problematic.
March 11th, I guess there's no chance of that getting pushed back. But an earlier question that Smelton had, and I was starting to get to that with Bob there, but I didn't. He said, where was it? Is 6v6 a final number? Is that the final number for this?
They came out and they had a very, this was a part of they chose to communicate this. They were not asked necessarily that question. They chose to communicate it. They said, in a fairly absurd thing, by the way, and this has nothing to do with my opinion about them necessarily, but in a fairly absurd statement, they said, we have tested essentially, all theoretical permutations and player counts and all these different things, and we're telling you that we have mathematically proven or whatever that 6 versus 6 is the absolute perfect balance. Also bots. They're not bots, and they're not mechs.
Also bots.
They are whatever they are. They're definitely not bots, and they're definitely not mechs. Bots are just there to be cannon fodder, but these are different. These are, seriously, these are things that the guys said. It's ridiculous. He's doing marketing. It doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. Real experience matters more. But they seemed to be saying that 6 versus 6 was
the sweet spot.
It was the sweet spot, and it was the thing around which they were designing so much else of the game. That I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. Map design, game type, time to kill of an individual player, traversal mechanics, traversal speed, weapon mechanics, all of this stuff together with 6v6, and whatever they are, they're not bots. All of that together goes in a stew, and it kind of comes together as a specific thing, and we are not interested in changing the 6 versus 6 element because it will throw the rest of our very precious design out of whack.
Yeah.
We will see.
We will. Smelton again in the chat room asks, how long does it take a game to go gold, to go to press, and then everything else? That takes some time too, but I'm thinking...
It doesn't matter. How long it takes to go to gold and go to press doesn't matter at all, because even if you buy a silly plastic disc, you are going to be downloading a very large patch.
Yeah.
Development on games nowadays continues right up until the last possible breath, the last heartbeat before release. So that is, I think, good. No, I think it is not bad. I think it is not necessarily bad. It gives them a lot more time. And another thing that Bob Titanfall brought up was the theoretical difference, or not even theoretical, it's very real, the difference in performance between Titanfall and Battlefield 4 at release. I make no excuses for them. I make none whatsoever. But Battlefield 4, the release date of Battlefield 4 is the thing that is responsible for the abysmal behavior of that game and its performance. It was carved in stone. We will beat Call of Duty to market. We will be there on launch day of the new consoles. And there was no exception to that statement. My understanding, and I think everyone's understanding, is that is what they were driving towards. Quality was a distant third. And they were releasing on how many platforms? All of them?
Well,
Everything?
They released on PC and the previous platforms on October 25th was the date.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an incredibly narrow window when you have two old school consoles, two new school consoles, and the PC, and you're trying to push in all 5 of those platform directions simultaneously. I, again, make no excuses for them, but that is the reason. With Titanfall, they were very specific in the, later. Console's going to come out. We're going to have this for you. It's going to come out next year. I'm not saying there aren't deadlines. There's no such thing as a video game with no deadline. Unless you're like art guy in his garage, make an art game. And, bless you for that, I suppose. But these games have deadlines. These games have needs. The people who have funded them have needs. There are business quarters, and they need to be shipping stuff with a retail cost so they can make up some of the development costs, and it doesn't have to get, written down and carried across yet another quarter. This is why we get so obsessed with the business, because the business constantly bleeds into our gameplay.
And not only that, Microsoft themselves, they've got new consoles to sell. It's just disgusting is what it is if you think about it too much, which is why I don't recommend it. But the point is, I don't think there was nearly as much whip cracking and nearly as much hand-wringing and nervousness about getting this thing out on 5 platforms simultaneously. It's coming out on 360, which I think is an entirely different studio responsible for that job. I think it is. You're right.
And it is coming to Xbox One and the PC. So all Microsoft platforms, it's a little less of a workload, I think, having to make sure that it works on all of them. Certainly fewer individual networking elements that you have to consider. So this is maybe a little bit more like what we should expect. I would be very close to saying that Battlefield 4 was the anomaly and was the aberration. Not that they've been, great in the past, but Battlefield 4 was especially bad. And I think that Microsoft is looking to sell consoles. Respawn is looking to lay down their first footprint in a new era of multiplayer, shooter type gameplay. And EA is probably looking to claw back a little bit of mind share from people. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that I won't play it. Like I said, I like this style of game. I like fast. But I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what it does.
Be playing that on your PC, obviously.
That's my intention.
So that'll be a day one purchase, I suppose.
Day 1 plus something. I'm not doing that. I'm not so desperate to be there on day 1 that I'm not going to wait for somebody to say what may be wrong with it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to take our break. When we come back, we've got the second hour of in-game chat. Going into break here with music from Lost Odyssey. We will be right back. welcome back to In-Game Chat, the second hour of the show. James.
Which music was that?
That was Halo. That's Halo 2.
Halo. Okay, which?
That's Halo 2. James, RJ, and myself here in the studio. You can call us if you'd like to be on the show, 334-272-9228. Again, music there from Halo 2. And, of course, it got brought up in the chat room about some of our... We were talking about the Horde mode type stuff, and James and myself both agree that ODST was our favorite of the Halos.
Not even because of that. That was a...
No, not because of that.
That was a throwaway component. I'm not usually an outlier. I have some pretty simple tastes, but man, as time goes on, I find myself being one of the few people that likes very, very specific certain sets of games. ODST was, to my mind, the finest, at least, campaign they've done in Halo.
It really came together for us because, I mean, we normally always play the Halo games co-op anyway, and that was the last one, I think, that we... I mean, Halo 4...
No, we did Reach.
Yeah, we did do Reach. You're right.
We did Reach. I didn't really like Reach, but...
We had more... well, I do remember we did Reach, didn't we? Yeah. That game
I really
comes with a little
ODS,
stigma to it.
ODST was fantastic. It didn't have Chief, which was... It's kind of like one of those Dr. Light episodes of Doctor Who. Right? You watch Doctor Who? You've watched Doctor Who.
Well,
right?
yeah, but...
No.
Oh, the Doctor... Okay,
the
I see what
Doctor
you're saying.
Light episodes. In one or two episodes a season, there will be episodes where the Doctor is not directly present, but his influence is felt and is there. It is a focus. It is like a story that's focused on
I was trying to think of
people.
who's called Dr. Light. I can't remember. I don't remember that character.
And what you do is you give the you give the writers a chance to examine the world and the effect that the main character, the main protagonist, and the singular event has on the world without filtering it directly through the hero prism all the flippin' time, right? It gives you a chance to examine things from a more subtle perspective, gives you a chance to ask questions, answer others, and do a lot of really interesting things because you shifted the perspective. And so ODST tunes you in to a conflict that is smoldering. It's already happened. You know, Mombasa has already been assaulted and everybody's run away. And the storyline of Halo 3 has already gone off somewhere else. Or Halo 2. It's Halo 2, right? Yes, Halo 2.
Yeah. Yeah?
Set the events for Halo ODST.
I guess it was.
Forget about it. Maybe I'm
between
wrong.
2 and 3.
Huh?
Somewhere between 2 and 3.
It was 2.
Okay.
It was 2. And so you get to examine it from that perspective, and also the perspective of a soldier. I mean, he's ODST, so he's like special ops, but he's not a walking tank. He's not Master Chief. And after a while, the effect of being Master Chief, of being that Spartan, was kind of reduced because he was just like the man's, you know, he was just the guy. This is the guy that you experience this universe through. And you forget that what exactly he is. And so realizing that the vast majority of people who are involved in this conflict are just humans.
Yeah.
And so being
It's
able
like
to
the police
experience-
helping out the Avengers, you know?
Right. Yeah, imagine
Not
playing
much
as a cop on the assault on New York from the Avengers film. Like, in its own way, that could be startling and really, really fun if built correctly. That's what ODST was. And the flashbacks and everything like that, the interaction with the different casts it was absolutely fantastic because it stepped away from the already pretty cliche nature of the story. So I liked it a lot. I liked it a ton, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we really, really enjoyed it. So, last week we went over the GDC award nominations.
When is GDC?
That is
Game Developers Conference.
It's in February or March. You know, you ask me, and I should have these things handy, but I don't. To tell you when they are, to know when they are. Yeah, March 17th through the 21st.
March 17th. The Game Developers Conference. This is where Game Developers Conference and... I don't know. What is this like? It's like the SAG Awards or something. It's like where people they give themselves awards. Your game's the best. No, your game's the best. You look great.
The DICE Summit happens February 4th through the 6th.
Haha, DICE gets there first.
Yeah. Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. They have the their nominations.
That doesn't spell dice.
No, it doesn't. digital interactive. I can't remember. I'd have to go look. Their awards, they got their nominations out, and I thought we'd go over these again. You haven't seen these as well.
For the love of...
I said you're going to have the same problems with this as you had last week.
Look, it's over. The year is over. This thing about doing awards at the end of the fiscal year, that was our idea. I mean, not that other people didn't come up with it first, but it's done, man. I don't care. Everybody doesn't care.
Well,
that's a lie. Clearly, they do care.
Yeah. Actually, I think they more care about your gaming quality pyramid or whatever we came up with last week.
The game? No, it wasn't about game quality.
Whatever it was.
That's for absolute certain.
The food pyramid that you
the food groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, the different food groups. That's the only reason that you do it anymore is you're gaming food groups, you know? It's because everybody needs a badge on their box, even though people don't use boxes anymore. But
true.
You got to put something there. You got to have a blurb from some guy underneath, you know, the buy it now button on your Steam page. Well, but that's all they do. That's all these things serve as, man. That's all the awards. It's all the reviews serve as anymore.
But here is the
but by all
reason-
means, read me the fabulous list of stuff.
And I will. But the reason I'd like to focus on these is because, good God, man, whenever the VGAs and VGXs roll around, nobody can do anything but complain about those and be like, oh, they're just doing it wrong. But when these nobody ever pays attention to these.
Well, because they're doing it wrong too, Scott. They're all doing it wrong. Reviews have gone, not reviews. Well, I can't even tell the difference between any of this garbage anymore. The awards don't mean anything. They never really did. But there was a point in time when they were rare enough, when there were a small enough number of groups of publications and organizations, distribution outlets, and critical academies and agencies and things like that. Not many people were putting together Game of the Year awards or Best of awards or anything like that. It was much less formal. Now it's saturated. So it doesn't matter. If you release a clickable button on Steam, it's going to win an award just because. You have I don't know. Like it's
a category will be invented for that.
It doesn't matter. As long as somebody felt something about it, man, you can be absolutely certain that somebody is going to give it an award. It's like, I don't know. It's like, whatever. It's very something. I can't quite put my head around like what the literary comparison is, but if you just are a game and you stand in one place long enough, someone's going to happen by and pin a medal on you. And it's all about, it isn't about the games. It just isn't about the games, and you have to know this. All of us out there have to know this. The accessibility of these games is universal. There isn't shelf space anymore. Shelf space is gone. It isn't a question of, well, I as, brick and mortar retailer, mom and pop thing only have so much space on my game shelf. I'm going to choose the things that won the most awards because my customers certainly care about the certifying nature of awards presented at developer conferences, and I'm going to sell more of that. No, it's garbage. Almost any other thing in the world is a better metric at determining whether the game was any good. You find people you trust. You have friends whose tastes align with yours. You look at leaks, you look at previews, you weigh them against each other, you try to filter out the garbage and the enthusiasm or the hatred, You get rid of the bile and the vile behavior. You get rid of all of it. You sample everything that the internet has to offer, and it has so much to offer. The last thing that matters is the award. The game I like is liked by people. This can't matter to you. It can't matter. It doesn't even matter anymore about it getting a sequel. The worst things in the history of the world are being sequelized ad infinite nauseum. And some of the very best things, some of the things most of us have loved the most, can't get a sequel for trying and for succeeding and for winning lots of awards. So what is it? By all means, please read me the list of these things.
Nominees for Outstanding Achievement. Nominees for Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition. At least they're very clear on that. Original music composition Beyond Two Souls, which I didn't pay attention to the music in that for some reason.
You know what? That's fine. That's not its job. Its job is not for you to pay attention to it. Its job is to complete the scene.
I understand. No. I'm not saying that it's less because I didn't.
Well, yeah, but you sounded like sort of sorrowful and apologetic. It's like, hey, you're right. It had music. That's fine. I liked that.
Sorrowful
video game.
and apologetic because
You never thought to take special note of it?
yeah, I never thought to be like, hey, I should go and listen to that soundtrack. I should go and
Don't worry about it. It clearly did its job. It didn't distract or detract.
well, I'd still like to hear it anyway. Go back and listen to it. Let's see, BioShock Infinite.
On the other end of the spectrum, I very much stopped to listen to some of that music over and over and over again. It was too good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Puppeteer, which I haven't played. Rain, which I haven't played. And Rayman Legends. Outstanding achievement in sound design, Battlefield 4.
Yeah, they're good. They're real good. They're guns, man. It's all sounds like guns and everything. I don't know how to say it, dude. It just sounds really good. They did such a good job. Their soundscapes are fantastic.
Plorch said best game that's not compatible with Windows 8. It'd be a lot on that list. BioShock Infinite for sound design, God of War Ascension, Grand Theft Auto 5, and The Last of Us. I think Battlefield 4 will probably take that, but anything that might give it a run for its money may be Last of Us.
The only reason that I would not be particularly, as myself, not particularly interested in giving it to Battlefield 4 is because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the sound quality in those games is just this. I do not mean this disparagingly, but they're not doing a new type of thing. They're building on everything that they've done very specifically in terms of engineering, I believe, with every previous Battlefield game. They've knocked it out of the park.
Well, look at Three Blades' comment. Outstanding sound design in Battlefield goes back to Bad Company 1.
That's exactly that is the first thing that turned me around on Bad Company 1. Because I wasn't having it, man. I was like, this is not Battlefield 3. And in my head, Battlefield 3 needs to be Battlefield 2, just that people play again, right? Because it's as good as it ever was, except for Bad Company 1, which was really, really exquisite. I remember beta, demo, whatever it was.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like the game, but I got in and I was like, ooh, whoa, this sounds so good. This game I don't like sounds so good. And I came to love the game, but it just sounded fantastic. So yeah, it does go back quite. It's a pedigree. Now it's part of the pedigree. So
yeah. Outstanding achievement in story, Beyond Two Souls, BioShock Infinite, The Last of Us, The Novelist, and Tomb Raider.
No.
Novelist being the only one I haven't played out of that list.
No, Tomb Raider, no. Liked it. We've defended it plenty. I liked it plenty, but no.
Not story-wise, no.
Get out of here. BioShock Infinite, like, no. Either.
So you've narrowed it down to Last of Us and Beyond Two Souls. I'd say The Novelist, but I'm pretty sure you haven't played that either.
I haven't. Oh, man. There's got to be something better. I don't know. That one dungeon I ran in WoW. Put that, I don't know. Something. Put that up there before Tomb Raider or Infinite.
Yeah.
That's sad. Unless, like, Infinite's like a gag thing. Like, it's going to get the booby prize or something. I don't know. Because it was a mess. What a mess. And Tomb Raider was fine. I don't think it was a mess, but it wasn't anything. It was not outstanding.
The next one, here's another one of those categories that needs further explanation. Outstanding character performance. They do not list the voice actors' names or the mocap actor or whatever the case.
Well,
they don't
then
have
who's
that
performing?
I know.
Just say most outstanding character and be done with it.
Outstanding character
Right?
performance. The nominees are Grand Theft Auto 5, Trevor. Rise, Marius Titus. Last of Us, Ellie, and Last of Us, Joel. And the narrator from the Stanley Parable.
I get what they're saying. That needs to be codified a little bit better.
That's got to be voice performance because as far as I know, Stanley Parable, you're a narrator. There is no...
Yeah.
That's gotta be voice acting.
Then that changes things a little bit, right? Because if you want to talk about we're not going to single out the voice actor or the mocap act, like Elizabeth, for example.
Good point.
I actually think that would be a better fit for that nomination because there were like a few different people responsible for making her. It's like very complicated theatrical puppetry. There is a team of people creating the individual that delivers the performance, right? The mocap actor and I believe the face model and the voice actress were all different people.
Like 3 different people, yeah.
It was like 3 different people. And then you had physical animators who were doing a lot of the details. They take the raw input, and this is always the case on mocap. They take that raw input and make it brilliant, you know? So it takes an awful lot of people to make something like that. And of the many things BioShock Infinite, of the several things BioShock Infinite did right, I do think that Elizabeth was one of them. So,
yeah, I mean,
nevertheless, I still have no idea what they're talking about.
I mean, you put the narrator in there who has no, that is strictly voice acting on that.
Hey, well, I mean no disrespect to any of these performances.
Right, yeah.
Only the existence of the awards themselves.
Now comes our favorite category, the downloadable game of the year.
So pretty much all games.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Nominees are Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, Gone Home, Papers, Please, and The Stanley Parable.
Ooh. I think Blood Dragon absolutely deserves a certain form of recognition, but not because it's a specifically outstanding achievement as a game. It's certainly great, and it's just a bunch of yucks tied to cliche, tied to really fun gameplay. The point of it is that it was super cheap. It was easy to access. It was a standalone thing, not DLC. And it was, hey, we've got the engine out there. We've already had pretty good success with Far Cry 3. Here's a thing, here's a lark, here's a little bit of something extra that the development team wanted to do. We have the assets, we have the time. Rather than make isolated, restrictive DLC, here's just another thing, man. Here's, what was it, $10, $15, something like that at the maximum. Here is a fun little thing, 6-7 hours of gameplay maybe, for something a little more affordable for more people. And it is itself a joke, so there are no jobs riding on this particular thing. It's low pressure, ease of access, low barrier of entry, fun, accessible, and it's what everyone should be doing. They shouldn't be cycling to the next usurious, egregious, costly, and really questionable piece of DLC. Unless, I mean, obviously the story calls for it. Just even more Blood Dragon. Be doing that. That's appropriate. And, maybe a ribbon or something, but not best downloadable game.
Yeah, I only played 2 of those that were nominated.
In the spirit of it, I think the Papers, Please.
Yeah.
In the spirit of everything. Papers, Please or Gunpoint.
Which is getting no love.
It really isn't getting any love. It happened too long ago. People have short memories.
Yeah. Casual Game of the Year. Nominees for this are Candy Box, Peggle 2, Plants vs. Zombies 2, Rayman Fiesta Run, and Ridiculous Fishing, A Tale of Redemption.
Well, I've heard of Ridiculous Fishing, so it wins. I don't know.
I know. One of those, yeah, we got that. We're moving on. Role-playing or massively multiplayer game of the year. Diablo.
Not even remotely the same type of thing. They're not even remotely the same type
I
of
know.
thing. They don't do the same things. That people think they do the same things or care so little that they do different things that they belong in the same category?
Close enough.
Evidently.
I was thinking about not doing this, but I'm
about
definitely doing it from now. You can do
on.
this every year just to get these reactions. Diablo 3, Dota 2, Dragon's Dogma.
Wait, what? Diablo?
Yeah.
For what?
This is role-playing / massively multiplayer game of the year.
Diablo 3 came out in 2012, right?
Yeah? No? Or are they talking about the consoles?
Time to research.
Oh, they're probably talking about the consoles. Forget about it. Yeah.
Oh,
actually, then it kind of deserves recognition because they kind of did it up right when they put it on the consoles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, by all reports, it is, and this actually it does real harm to me to say this, but it is the superior version of the game. And not just because of the DRM or the always online or the lack of an auction house, but it is the faster, cleaner, better version of this Diablo they've chosen to make. And it is really rewarding for a lot of people I know who will never come within 100 miles of PC gaming.
The others on the list, Dota 2, Dragon's Dogma, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, and then Pokemon X and Y.
Okay.
Next category.
I have to defer to somebody else for,
really,
for those. I really
exactly. Outstanding innovation in gaming. Don't know what that means.
Are you for real? Are you for real? What does it mean? Someone who played a game really well? That should be a thing. Well, it probably is a thing.
Well, the nominees are interesting. Outstanding innovation in gaming. The nominees are Grand Theft Auto 5, Papers, Please,
Here we go.
Tearaway,
Uh-huh.
Last of Us, and The Stanley Parable.
Yep. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Almost perfect distribution. That's unassailable.
Is that your food group?
It's very, very close. It is very, very, very close. Nobody can complain about my list because my list, refuses to insult anybody. Look, I think I actually articulated this last week. And fine, I'll stop. I'll stop for a second. Stop complaining about this. I think this whole thing is ridiculous. I think it's past ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you think it's funny to make me mad by reading about it, and that's between us.
I think it's
maybe
it's entertainment.
Okay. But again, and I may even have said this last week, but again, think about where we are. People talk an awful lot of garbage about where we are, garbage about what gaming is. We spend way too much time in an echo chamber. We spend way too much time reinforcing our own beliefs. We're too mad about things that don't matter at all. Not even remotely perturbed about things that actually are important. And it's sort of wretched about how our own behavior, about how our own cultivation of our time and experience in gaming is done by all these people, okay? But if you've been around long enough, if you have seen this and paid attention to gaming and cared at all about it as a form of entertainment, the same way you've got friends that are movie buffs or people who enjoy their literature or comic books or really intense music guys, gaming is becoming just another one of those things, although it's far messier and far less artistic, and that's fine, because who cares? I didn't get into it because of the art. I got into it because games, man.
Yeah.
And you either get that or you don't get that. If you're listening to my voice right now, you probably get it. But just for a second, take the time to recognize that we are in a place in the world where Papers, Please and Grand Theft Auto 5 are on the same list, and it's a natural fit. Nobody says, you're trying too hard, and that's a bunch of or the people who are. That's one of the things we have to kind of filter out when having the discussion, but
Right.
It's absurd in the most wonderful way. It is ridiculous in every way it needs to be. Papers, Please. It's nothing. It's ephemeral, and it's small, and it's clean, and it's beautiful, and it's perfect, and it's inexpensive. And it was like a dude.
Short, sweet, and entertaining.
Yeah, it's like a
That's what I
guy,
think about when I see that
give me
game.
10 of your dollars,
Yeah,
and
I mean-
here have one of the best experiences of the year. Also over here, a $70 million game.
Yeah.
Thousands of people involved in it. A 15-year-old property that is just well-loved and well-respected and has broken barriers and gotten people in enormous amounts of trouble. And it has been the bone of contention, really, for a long time between people who understand games and people in the public who do not. It is massive. And I don't like GTA 5, but yeah, it deserves to be on a list of any achievement, but no more than Papers, Please.
Yeah, I mean, look at this.
And what a cool thing that is.
GTA 5, that's your big AAA. Last of Us, that's your big AAA. That's your big, your big lot of dollars behind this sort of thing to get it in the hands of people to play it and get your attention. Then you've got Papers, Please, like you said, very low key, very minimal, very innovative, whatever.
No, but it is. You don't have to air quote or mind quote that phrase when you're talking about something like that.
Well, I'm just saying because it's nominated in the innovative category. Tearaway. That's
my job. Don't do that.
Tearaway because it's in the handheld thing. So you've got another handheld.
Exactly.
Stanley Parable is a game, not game. type thing.
Yeah. I'm actually I won't do that. That's a little ridiculous to me. I know that's not what you were doing legitimately, but the whole not game thing, that's silly.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that you're grouping these things together.
Right. It's a well-balanced meal.
It is
what that is.
A sports game of the year. FIFA 14, Madden 25, MLB 13, the show, NBA 2K14, and it covers all of them. NHL, you've got your hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer. All right, cool. Racing game of the year.
Is that all of them?
That is all of them.
That isn't. It's not all of them.
No tennis, but I don't think we got anything.
Man.
Tennis.
We don't need any more.
Last tennis game I played was Top Spin 4. That was a while ago.
We do not need any more tennis games. We already had Virtua Tennis on the Dreamcast, and it is still the most fun I've ever had playing a tennis game.
Yeah.
I've still got your copy because I have a Dreamcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so good. God, that was so much fun.
I don't know if I still got mine. I may have Virtual Tennis 2. I don't know if anybody remembers all the players in that game, though. If you put it up right now, who would remember who Jim Courier was or Lindsay Davenport? See, no one knows what I'm talking about.
We're very old people, so that's okay.
Racing game of the year, Forza Motorsport 5, Gran Turismo 6, Grid 2, Need for Speed Rivals, and Real Racing 3.
Wait, Grid 2?
Grid 2.
Wasn't that the one everyone was complaining about? When it was free on PlayStation. Someone said it was a low-quality game. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But when Grid 2 was like free on PlayStation Plus, had a lot of folks. I heard a lot of folks talking.
I didn't pay any attention to it when it was free.
I mean, some folks have a lot of complaints about it, so I don't know. Maybe it's just isolated few. Maybe that was the case.
How is it that they're so loud? The isolated few. Is it like a buff they get, right when they're outnumbered? Is it like playing like in Wintergrasp or something in World of Warcraft? Right when the enemy team outnumbers you, you get like a massive buff and you become more powerful. Is that what it is? Is this just all the really angry people on the internet? They get a buff that makes them louder.
Who knows?
I'm just being stupid. Go on.
No, I understand. No. Fighting game of the year, Dive Kick, Injustice, Gods Among Us, and Killer Instinct. Of those, I think you've only played Injustice, probably.
No, I've got Dive Kick, played Injustice. No Xbox One, so I haven't played Killer Instinct, but I've seen enough videos of it, and I guess everybody's having a good time with that one. Dive Kick's real simple, easy to get into. There's 2 buttons. That's it. 2 buttons, real simple. It's real easy. That's all about strategy in that one.
The last fighting game I actually enjoyed was, I've told you this before, Bloody Roar.
No,
on the PlayStation. Because somebody was like, here, dude, you press like 2 buttons, you can have fun too. And I was like, God, and then it turned into like a werewolf. And like I just press this 1 button and then this other button, and then I go left or right or kind of around, and then a werewolf.
You hit both buttons at the same time?
Huh? I didn't know you could do that.
Did you hit both buttons at the same time?
I may have. I don't know. You give me 2 buttons, 2 attacks, a couple of simple things, and I'm still a button masher. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, slap buttons and pray. That's a method.
Also, it looked really cool. So that was my... I felt pretty awesome playing that game. That game was for me.
The category for strategy simulation game of the year, Europa Universalis 4, Fire Emblem Awakening, Civilization 5, Brave New World, by the way, the expansion, StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, and XCOM, Enemy Within. I haven't played any of those.
Something's not on that list. There's a thing related to the simulation game that's not on that list. The one about the city?
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? The one where you can't just flip a switch and make it offline.
Right.
No, the one where all the features are integral to the cloud and to the hosted servers. I don't know, whatever it is. It just can't. I was really hoping to play.
No, I'm drawing a blank.
I can't remember the name. I really always kind of wanted to play it, but sort of offline without all of the problems. I can't.
It'll come to you after the show's over.
I don't know. What a shame that they couldn't do that ever.
There's a great category. Broken game of the year.
Most broken game of the year.
Yes. You would have had Colonial Marines. You would have had...
broken. Broken could mean a lot of things. I think we have to build that category a little bit differently.
We should add that category into our list. Anyway, let's see. What is the next one? Family game of the year. Disney, yeah. Huh? Huh? Family Game of the Year. Disney Infinity. Lego Marvel Superheroes. Rayman Legends. Skylanders Swap Force. And Super Mario 3D World.
Is this like...
Family game.
Family Game of the Year.
Yeah, it's like, your kids won't ask you what that word the thing said was. That's all. Your kids won't embarrass you about it when they go to school and the teacher hears them talking about it. That's all it means. It's ridiculous. Kid-friendly. Kid-friendly is all it means.
Two of those, it should really just call it the money hole of the year. Disney Infinity, just keep buying things. Skylanders Swap Force, just keep buying things.
Yeah, so why didn't Pokemon make it into that category?
Good question.
Because it wasn't. Was it one? No, don't go backtrack. Never mind.
It made it into the RPG, RP role playing, massively multiplayer. Pokemon, yeah,
but not in the family game.
Not in the family game. No, it's too much. The mobile game of the year: Fetch, Flick Kick Football Legends, Plants vs Zombies 2, Ridiculous Fishing: A Tale of Redemption, and what? The Wolf Among Us.
What?
Yeah,
The Wolf Among Us was playable mobile?
it is on the iOS. It is on iOS device. It's on the iPad.
Is it really?
It is.
I didn't. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Which is odd because the next category is handheld game of the year.
No, it really. I don't know. It actually. Yeah, that seems like an odd fit to me. But anyway.
Handheld game of the year nominees: Fire Emblem Awakening, Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon, Pokemon XY. There you go. Tearaway and Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Portable and handheld.
Yeah, mobile and handheld.
Same thing.
I know.
Close enough.
Well, yeah.
No.
Adventure game of the year: Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag.
No.
Finish that yet?
No, it's not an adventure. Does anyone know what words mean in relation to things anymore?
No.
God, it's just, we're making it all up as we go along, I suppose. No history in this business whatsoever.
Nope.
No.
No.
Anyway, yeah, sure, adventure game of the year, the Assassin's Creed. What, the part where I send my boats off to do some other stuff?
Part where you change clothes.
Go ahead. I don't want to spend any longer than this than we have to. It's so horrible.
Might as well. Tearaway, Last of Us, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, and Tomb Raider. Online game of the year:
Just hurry up.
Battlefield 4, Borderlands 2. What? That was last year.
It doesn't even matter. If the words don't matter, why does the year matter?
I guess not.
Tribes.
Diablo.
The first one.
Diablo 3, Last of Us, and World of Tanks. Action game of the year: Battlefield 4, BioShock Infinite, Dead Rising 3, Devil May Cry, and Resogun.
What category was that?
Action.
It's too broad. Don't worry about it.
Like Resogun is like an arcade type game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting Resogun up there with DMC.
And these are the guys. These are the guys
3.
that like. This isn't like, Bob's List or anything. Not like Bob Titanfall's list, but like whatever. Bob. This is like Bob's list.
This is
of games.
Bob's list.
This is like the people who are supposed to know. Resogun does not go into action. God, I'm done. I'm sorry. There's better things to talk about than this. Go ahead.
Oh, it gets better. We'll just breeze through here. Outstanding achievement in animation: Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag,
No.
Beyond Two Souls. I'm gonna keep going. You just
Why?
keep yelling. Puppeteer, Rayman Legends, and Last of Us. Outstanding achievement in art direction: BioShock Infinite, Puppeteer, Rayman Legends, Tearaway, and The Last of Us. And oh god, there's another page. Outstanding achievement in visual engineering: Assassin's Creed,
Cherry pick. Just find.
Battlefield 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, Rise, and The Last of Us. What the hell? Gameplay engineering. Skipping that category. Game direction: Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, Grand Theft Auto 5, Papers, Please, Tearaway, and The Last of Us. And Game of the Year: your nominees are Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Last of Us, and Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
The ones that
Are
showed up.
you kidding me? That is the worst game of the year list.
Sounds
There's like the worst 5 nominees.
Sounds like the ones that showed up the most in the whole categories.
Close.
Assassin's Creed was a bit of a gas, right? It was really fine, and I enjoyed it, and it was a cure for what I don't know. It was better than Assassin's Creed 3. It was a lot more enjoyable. The ship stuff was fine, but it was hampered by every problem the series has developed, every issue that the series has created for itself since the beginning. And they've only gotten worse. They just distracted us all by putting it in a wonderful setting, not burdening us with too much of the types of gameplay that had been most complained about. And it's like, it's a trick. It was a fine trick, and I was there for the ride along. But it was a trick. Hey, get on a pirate ship and go sink ships, man, and go find treasure. And that's it. Like, that's why it was great. And it was pretty cool. And I will admit to that. It does not deserve to be on a Game of the Year list. It simply isn't worthy in a year like this. And neither is BioShock. For all the reasons that have been stated over the last 8 months. It simply doesn't deserve that place. It deserves accolades and recognition for certain things. It deserves a position in certain subcategories. But no. To say that it is theoretically, like what you're saying is there's a chance this could be called the best thing from this last year. And you are out of it. You are confused, I believe. Objectively.
How many of those titles were big money, the big money titles, the AAA?
As far as what, the Game of the Year?
Yeah, Game of the Year. How many of those were the big money titles?
Oh my goodness, all of them really. Let's see, all of them.
All of
I mean,
them,
with the
pretty much,
exception, you might the Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds is about the only one you could probably single out as being
that has as many A's as everything
It
else.
does, it does.
really
But
does. And I haven't played that, and you know
I
how I feel about
know
Zelda.
you want to.
So, but
if I got to
mean,
pick,
that's perfectly fine, and that's really, really good. And I don't want to. The games themselves are good. I even enjoyed my time with Infinite. I liked that. I liked it. But this is a distraction we don't need. It's these types of things, and not necessarily that it gets me, whipped up into a lather and confused and angry about it. And other people arguing against which one is better. I simply argue against the entire concept. I don't think it is necessary for us, for people who play games because we enjoy them so much. It is obviously necessary to someone's, betterment. It obviously does someone somewhere a favor. But I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. Do you think that Amy Hennig and Neil Druckmann and those guys, do you think they would stop making games if people just didn't like lavish praise all over them?
nope.
I mean, I'm sorry, do you think they would stop making them if the praise were not lavished in the form of official seals and accolades and reviews? No. We've spoken with them. We're nobody. And we've talked to them. They go on forums. They're community managers and the members of the development team and marketing teams and all these. They can contact people directly. There's essentially no necessary barrier between them and us. All this stuff. This is a distraction, and it's useless, and I don't know, it's a canard, should be done away with. There are better things. There are better ways to seed the conversation, to form new conversations, to get people talking about different things. The comparisons are going to be natural anyway. I think deep down inside, everybody knows how awesome it is that a game that can come out on this stupid little phone, a game that can come out on my $1,000 computer at home, a game that can come out on a console that sits somewhere between the two. All of these things are in equal contention. All of them. Because we finally reached a point where, design and intent and stuff, it isn't necessarily related to power or platform or any of those things. So I think everybody knows this. Everybody's got the information they need. And shouldn't keep feeding into this. It's bad. This is empty calories. This is the sugar, salt, and fat of the gaming industry. It teaches us, I think, to be worse consumers, worse people. There we go. I'm done.
That's a good point, man. It's a great point. And one of the reasons we do this is to kind of break that whole situation down and look
Right.
at it. And I didn't. I don't think it was until you pointed it out last week when I got to that downloadable game category that I started looking at these a little bit closer as to what are you talking about
Right.
when you make these? I mean, when you come up with these categories, and I know that a lot of people listening who follow us on Twitter and that sort of thing are really wanting us to do, our version of this. And to go through the year and just say, hey, what did you like and that sort of thing. So
When you talk about games.
well, yeah, of course.
But that's really what people definitely want. What are your highlights? What are your best
Exactly.
experiences?
So
open
instead
yourself
of
up a little bit about
instead
this.
of breaking it down into categories, which we don't have to do,
Yeah.
is just to say, look, pick your don't even limit it to a number, man. Just pick your favorites.
I have such a weird relationship with rock paper shotgun. I really do. I bellyache about them an awful lot. The guys there, they have different sensibilities, both as gamers, as writers, and as critics than I do. And I think they've changed an awful lot over the years. They have an enormous amount of pressure on them because they are probably not singular, but they are the best voice for PC gaming that exists. And so when they drift a little bit, it's a little bit difficult for me to sort of to cleave to their point of view, right? But their methodology for doing this thing is actually incredibly sound and easy to defend, very justifiable, and they caught hell for it.
Yeah.
And I don't even agree with their thing, and that's fine. Clearly, if you've heard anything that's ever come out of my mouth, agreeing isn't something I expect to be a part of very often where games are concerned. But their methodology, I think, is pretty much unassailable. And it's really the best thing that any of us could hope to do. They sit down in a room or in a chat room or in any place where they can discuss. And they're like, hey, let's talk about games. What happened this year? Here's a list of stuff that happened this year. How did you feel about stuff? And if X number of people can agree about a game and just say, yeah, the impact of this thing, the way I felt, the stuff it did, both objectively and subjectively, this was really good. So let's just put it on the list. The list is not in any particular order. It's just, except for the top slot. Here is some stuff that mattered this year. And it mattered because it sticks with us. It mattered, maybe even if it doesn't, it mattered at the time.
Yeah.
These are things that matter. The categorization, by the time you even invent all of those ridiculous categories, you're probably too exhausted to even remember what you've done. And this is developers and critics. And as much as we love them and need them and hate them at the same time, developers never play enough games because they're too busy with their own.
Mm-hmm.
Critics play too many games, and they treat it like a job because it is. Anything becomes a job at a certain point in time, and jobs are terrible. Nobody likes jobs. I don't care how much you love the thing you do. It's a requirement. You don't get to decide that what you're doing today or tomorrow or next week or for any period of time is up to you, unless you're, one of those guys, and good on you if you are.
Yeah.
It's why, like in that way, it seems like it's on another planet. It seems like this point of view is anywhere but here.
Yeah, and
where we live and
that's
play.
and like you did last week with downloadable game. That's a horrible category. Getting this one, the RPG MMO, let's bunch those together category was also something to look at and say you're wrong.
Yeah.
You are, just like you said, you are doing it wrong.
So it's not about agreeing with nominations or not agreeing with them, although I can do that. It's more about, I don't know. This just seems way out of place now. Very, very much out of place to me.
Whenever if we do our kind of year-end wrap-up type situation that we always talk about, games of the fiscal year, that sort of thing, and don't do the categories and just go over, our list of, hey, man, here's what I enjoyed this year, and here's what didn't work out so well for me this year, even if we want to go that route. We encourage everybody listening to call in with yours, too, and let us know. Something we'd like to have is a lot more interaction from the audience here with either calling in. We know you guys are in the chat room, but I can tell you now that sometimes we don't see what you're typing.
And the chat room moves fast.
It moves so
has
fast.
A lot of its own conversations.
And you've also got the way Twitch works now. You're also like a minute behind if you're watching us through
the
there
interactivity is a little tougher because the delay is
in the chat
significant.
room. So, feel free to call in with your stuff. We've only got a few minutes here. Obviously, we're not taking a break. We're just going to go to the end of the hour here. But wrapping up a little bit of kind of what we've all played recently. You had asked James, you had asked me and RJ before we went on the air here what we had played, and I never got a chance to ask you. Have you played anything?
Nope.
Nothing at all, huh?
Yeah. Wow. Seriously, that's all I've done. I have been absolutely custard-headed, brain-dead mode.
That's fine.
Playing World of Warcraft.
You have
with
weeks
some
like
friends.
that, honestly. You have weeks where it's just like, I
mean, I did finish Assassin's Creed, I guess I should say, immediately after last week's show. So that doesn't feel like this week, but I did finish it.
Well, see, yeah, exactly. For me, I had a marathon of gaming on Sunday, playing game after game after game and trying to stream it through Twitch. That, boy, by the time Monday and Tuesday rolled around, I was like, I don't know, man. I'm going to go sit on the couch for a while. But I didn't. I kept streaming stuff. So the games that I played this week were Batman, Arkham Origins, did more of the challenge modes and was trying to beat some high scores and trying to get the 3 medals in some of the challenge maps. Also played Castlevania Lords of Shadow that I got frustrated with and quit. But there you go. See, there's Dennis.
Why'd you get frustrated? Are you bad at it?
I would love to say I am, but from everybody in the chat room, they said Act 1 of that game is horrible. It is a horrible beginning, but it gets so much better.
Like, is the gameplay frustrating, or is it just like bad?
I want to say frustrating because I think I'm wrong if I say it's bad. But I want to say bad, but I'm going to say frustrating because I think I'm wrong in saying that it's bad. And some people in the chat room may back me up on this, but it's in the God of War style hack and slash situation. The camera likes to do its thing where you have no control. You don't move the camera. So a lot of the times the camera it'll be in that situation where you're running towards the camera.
Right.
And you can't move the camera around, and I don't like that view. Sometimes it'll switch around on you. It's got some issues there.
Can you like lock on or something to enemies or something? Because that perspective, you have no idea what's in front of you, but you're running towards you don't know.
No, you couldn't lock on to enemies No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't lock on to enemies.
Yeah.
No. No. See, Dennis says I'm not making this up. Chapter 1 is a terrible beginning to that game. It really, really, I don't like it. I'm going to try and push through. They said I was pretty close, so I may try and pick it back up again. The other game I played was a game I backed on Kickstarter, which is Mysterious Cities of Gold, which is an old Nickelodeon show that I used to watch as a kid, and they made a game out of it. Played that. And
Did you not back the Double Fine?
I did not.
That's an interesting situation.
Yeah, I did not. I was hoping Matt would be here this week so he could talk to us about, Broken Age, because he backed it, I know. And what else did I play? I've been playing Still Life, which is a puzzle game, an adventure game from 2005. Murder mystery type stuff, and you have to collect evidence and that sort of thing. So I've been playing that. And those are the games that I've been playing. I'll look over to RJ. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been practicing for, like we talked about earlier, final round. So I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter 4 AE and Soul Calibur 5. Those are the two tournaments I'm signing up for. And I just found out that my favorite fighting game, Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, is going to be available as a side tournament. So I've been playing a lot of that recently. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time playing those 3 titles and just a smattering here or there of anything else that just comes to mind when I just want to take a break from those.
I kind of miss playing stuff competitively, I really do. You never really did you play anything competitively? Any kind of gaming?
No.
It was really, it's been a really, really long time. The world has changed.
I've been trying to get into some of the I really want to get into some of the pinball tournaments that they do for Zen and for the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a place where you belong. I was like not, I was not like super brilliant. I was never good enough at Twitch to be remarkable in a purely Twitch style game. Like I could do quite well in something like Quake 2 back when we played that an awful lot. I even did fairly well in Counter-Strike, but I remember I remember enjoying very much like having the game that was my core focus and is the one I competed at, and the way that shaped the time you spent gaming. You know, the time that you would just spend, you would just practice and practice and practice and practice because you enjoyed being so good at that. And the types of games that you would choose to go play when you were sick of practicing and needed a break. It changes your relationship to other things, you know? You'll seek out other things that feel like they're associated and maybe help you be better at the thing you're doing, and then other things entirely because they're nothing like it. It was enjoyable in its way, but clearly there's a reason I stopped doing it.
Which was?
People stopped playing Tribes.
Oh. That's what it was then. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody listening in the chat room. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks everybody for joining us as well who are listening on the stream or on the radio also. Thanks to everybody who grabs us each week from iTunes or however you get our show for later use. We really appreciate it. Go to ingamechat.net and you can join us on Twitter, Facebook, our forums at colonyofgamers.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're on Steam, we've got a Steam group you can join up with over there and play games with us and other listeners. So thanks, everybody, for this week. We will see you next Saturday.